Yeah. Cadence through the ceiling, it's the vibe you give and running through my heart. Music drives my feelings, sending up.
Hey everybody, what's going down? It's your girl Jay Renee. You know I always got something to say. And today, oh my goodness, we have legends in the building from the lead actor of the upcoming film Finding Tony, Mr. Stephen Bishop, and of course, director. She's also a philanthropist as well as Mr. Bishop. She also, I'm pretty sure you've seen her books as well. And she's just an all-around great filmmaker, the one and only Miss Raven Magwood Goodson. Woo!
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this interview. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, let's talk about the upcoming film Finding Tony. Miss Raven Magwood Goodson, you partnered up with who is the executive producer of the film, Mr. All-Star Anthony Davis. Talk to me. How did you all come together for this film, Finding Tony?
Yes, so I had written the film and was getting ready to produce it. And we were looking for one more investor to really round everything out and be able to start filming. And so I reached out to a former distributor of mine that I had worked with, and he said that he thinks that he had someone perfect for the project. He said, I can't tell you who it is. It's an NBA star, but he's wanting to start his own production company and he's wanting to partner with our distribution company. This could be a great fit. And so I kept following up. He wouldn't tell me who it was. He said, but him and his team are reading the script. And they read the script, heard back from them a little bit later. And he said, okay, I can tell you who it is. It's Anthony Davis. He really likes the script and they would like to move forward with investing and executive producing the project. So it was really all God, how everything worked. And I'm happy and excited for that partnership.
Now, as an author as well, you've written a book called The 7 Practices of Exceptional Student Athletes. And within the film itself, where the trailer that I've seen, these are college student athletes.
Yeah.
Are there any adaptations from the book that you've put in place within the movie?
No specific adaptations, but definitely the lessons that are prevalent throughout the book are also prevalent throughout the film, whether it's overcoming adversity or being aware of who's in your circle, being a good team player. All of those 7 practices are somehow represented in the film, but it's not a specific adaptation, no. But it's really cool that I was able to bring sports from the books into the movies as well.
Talk to me about the name behind the film. Like, was Finding Tony your initial choice, or what was the process creating this film within itself?
Yes, the title was different when we first started out, but as we were filming and then more so as we were editing, I realized that the story between Tony and Destiny really became about Tony. It became about Destiny finding Tony in the sense of finding a mentor and his athletes finding him. But then it also became about Tony finding himself. And it was just really cool how everything worked. I'm not going to spoil the movie at all, but how everything worked, the title is absolutely perfect. And I'm glad that we ended up going with it.
And speaking of Finding Tony, we have the lead actor here, Mr. Stephen Bishop. And I want to get into how did both of you all come together, and as well as Mr. Bishop, what did you do to prepare for this role?
Well, we came together because Raven reached out to my team. I'll let her tell you how she came to the decision to do so. But she reached out to my team and they got in contact with me and told me the concept. And I said I really liked it. I wanted to read the script, so I did, and I loved it. And I said let's get her on the phone and see if we can make this happen. And then to prepare, being an ex-professional athlete and a current coach, I have a lot of life experience to draw from to play that part of Tony. So that was a comfort zone for me. So it was really fortunate that I was able to do part of this film in my comfort zone, because there were other parts of the film where I wasn't so much in my comfort zone. The mental health aspect and the depression and the alcoholism. these are not things that I'm familiar with. But having the foundation of Tony already in me, it allowed me to really use my imagination and my experience with other people who have dealt with these issues, and try to build that character. Raven wrote a lot of nuance into Tony, and the arc is tremendous. So I wanted to make sure that when I created him, that I did it justice in, I did the writing and the creation of him on the page justice. And I felt like, as I said, with my professional sports background, I really had a good starting place to go from.
That's incredible. That is incredible. Miss Magwa Goodson, can you go into depth of how you reached out to Mr. Bishop and his team for him to be the Tony for the film?
Yes, it took a while for me to decide who exactly I wanted to be Tony, because I didn't want to just put a bunch of offers out there. I wanted it to be very specific. I knew we had to find the Tony. And so I was watching movies and shows and just, praying about, God, bring me who's really supposed to be Tony, because it's a very critical role. We have to have the innocence of who he is, but then he has to be able to go deep into the mental health issues and the grief that he's experiencing. And it's a role that Stephen did very well. But during the time I was like, who could this be? And so me and my husband were watching The Terminal List with Chris Pratt. And of course, Stephen is in that. And when he came across the screen, we both just kind of like looked at each other. And my husband said, I think that's Tony. And sure enough, it was just instant. I said, that's our Tony. I don't know what needs to happen. I don't care what needs to happen. We've got to get him. And so I reached out to his team. And as he said, they read it, he loved it, and we made it work. And I'm just so glad, because suspicions were correct 1,000%. He is the perfect Tony. No one else could have played this role. And I'm just so excited to have him as a part of the project.
Another thing that I viewed within the trailer is a sense of necessity for community. And I want you all to expound on that. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are, community is needed for growth in any aspect.
Yes, we don't live life in a vacuum, whether it's family, teammates, classmates, colleagues. We're going to interact with people at some point or another. But, when you can learn from individuals, I'm one of those people who feels like even a broken clock is right twice a day. You can learn things from people. And when you have a strong community around you that you can learn from and grow from, that's when you see the best results.
Yeah, no, I think that this film does show that it takes a village to raise an adult sometimes, from the depths of depression. And, Tony's village became the team. And, he was as down could be. And he wasn't even really enthused about coaching the team at first. But once he started getting involved with the relationships with the team and their lives and helping them get better and more in line with their goals, he started, as Raven said, finding himself again. And and then with the ladies on the team, there were some of them that needed to find themselves as well. Like Raven said, we don't want to give too much about the movie away, but there's a lot, and I think everybody benefited from Tony coming into the fray. The team and all its individual parts, and Tony himself. I think they all were better for the relationship that they found. And, that's, one of the themes here. And then other ones are, perseverance and being able to understand that no matter how tall the adversity is that you have to face, if you just continue to chip away, you'll be able to make it out. It's not about how you fall, it's how you get up that matters.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Another question for you both is, what is your take on finding balance within this entertainment industry? Because both of you all, you're both philanthropists, you all give back to your community, you all have speaking platforms that are almost international, really. And how do you find that balance for work, for self, as well as giving your all to your community?
I personally think for me, it's about being intentional. I'm really big on, just being intentional about every aspect of my life, whether it's work, play, family, whatever it is. I just make sure that I'm giving time to all the different aspects of my life. I'm giving time to my family. I'm giving time to my work. I'm giving time to myself. I can't pour from an empty cup. But I think sometimes we can let life run us instead of us running the days of our lives. And so for me, it's just about waking up and saying, okay, what's the most important thing for me to do right now? And a lot of times that's, taking care of myself, or, me and my husband haven't gone on a date in a while, or, I need to call my parents and check on them, or how's my brother doing? So I think being intentional about the different pillars in my life, I'm able to stay present in all of those pillars instead of just, letting the days run me.
Yeah, I think she said it as well as it could be said. I mean, there's really nothing I can add to that because that's exactly how I live my life, and I stay balanced. Uh, I stay in the moment and in the present, and I field everything as it comes, and uh, I try not to get too deep into the industry of this. And I do my job, and when I'm on set, I'm 100% in my job. I rarely leave the hotel when I'm on location, and I really mean that. I hardly ever go anywhere, ever. I go to work, I come home, and that's it. And I sometimes I shoot in New York, sometimes I shoot in Atlanta, all over the country, all over the world, and I've been that way. I don't know what it is about me that put me in that space, but it's worked for me, where I've said to myself, listen, we are here to work. 100% of our energy and mind is going to be in this job. And every moment that we're not on set, we're going to be spending preparing, whether it be preparing by resting, or preparing by working out, or preparing by going over lines for the next day. I'm 100% immersed in the project, um, and I really think that keeps me focused and keeps my energy where it needs to be. So I think Raven said it as well as it could be said, and if I added anything to it, great. But I'm pretty sure I just kind of reiterated a lot of the things that she said.
Miss Magwood Goodson, you will be hosting an HBCU, excuse me, movie screening at the Clark Atlanta University. Is there a purpose why that specific HBCU to show the film? And Mr. Bishop, I know you all will be in attendance as well.
I will. Is that the one I'm coming to Atlanta for? I didn't
No,
know.
this one, Stephen won't be at the HBCU screening, but he will be at the Atlanta screening for the film like a few days later. For the HBCU, we're being able to, I get to interact with mass media students, and they get a sneak peek of the film, give their reviews of the film, get to speak to a real live director about how we're able to put everything together. And so I'm really excited about being able to speak with them. And definitely, I think just giving students who look like me the opportunity to learn and get a little behind the scenes sneak peek, and get to see the film. I think it's going to be inspirational for them, and just really cool. A nice time to speak with the students and get their thoughts about the film live.
And then there will be a VIP red carpet premiere May 9th in LA, correct?
Yes.
I'll definitely be at that.
And officially, Finding Tony will release on exclusively the Finding Tony um, website on May 10th, correct?
Yes, watch.findingtonyfilm.com. In June, we'll be everywhere: Amazon, Apple TV, DirecTV, everywhere. But until then, we get to give our audiences a sneak peek, exclusive preview of the film. And I'm super excited about being able to do that.
And this is my last question for both of you. What would you want the viewer to take away from either the characters themselves or the movie in its entirety?
For me, I think it's twofold. I think, there will be people who watch the film and find themselves in a Tony space, and those that find themselves in a Destiny space. But for both, I think it's about being able to overcome adversity and come out stronger in the end and realize that it's not over. A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. And so I think that both of their characters speak to that. And if they're Destiny, allow people to love on you, allow people to pour into you. And then if you're Tony, even though you've gone through everything that you've gone through, because we all are going through something, know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and that there's still more for you to do because God still has you here.
Yeah, I think that for me, both Tony and Destiny are models of perseverance, and they show from two sides of the coin, where how valuable perseverance can be in your life. I mean, you never know when life is going to light up for you. It can be dark, 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 and then just in an instant, everything can change and it can be great. So I think people should, understand that if you just keep plugging along, stay the course, keep doing what you're doing, as long as what you're doing is positive and it's, leading you in the right direction, eventually the light at the end of the tunnel will come and you will be able to flourish in your purpose. There are a lot of people that are, like Raven said, going to be going through a lot of the things that both Tony and Raven go through. And I hope that they're inspired by the film to be able to, find an extra bit of energy, find a second wind or a third wind even, and just keep on pushing, because eventually God will get you through it and you'll find yourself on the other side of the tunnel.
That is a work. Y'all killing it. I just want to say y'all are killing it. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to interview you both. Shout out to Latoya of Lemon Limelight Media for this opportunity. As always, you all are always welcome to be on the Talk With Me podcast and Houston Trends Magazine. And oh my goodness, I cannot wait for the film. May 10th on Finding Tony online, and June it will be available everywhere. If you're in Atlanta, please go to the screening. And of course, if you're at Clark Atlanta University, even though I went to TSU, go ahead and go to the Q&A, because cast and crew, and also you'll be able to interview everybody there. And I just want to thank you all so much for the opportunity to interview you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you for having us.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your girl Jay Renee. I've got something to say. Bringing you new episodes and new guests on your Talk With Me podcast exclusively on YouTube. Like, share, and of course subscribe. And follow us on IG too. All right, y'all. Bye.